We're live.
Any of you guys got crazy glue? Because I need to make a protest on the Scotiabank Arena. We need to get rid of that ambassador. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I might want to make a protest too. Too bad I'm not an old white woman. Anyway, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in onto the point with
Skip
and the King. You guys know what to do. Go down there, click subscribe. We're very close to our 400th subscriber to give this away to one of you. Smoke-free, pet-free zone. It's all yours. I'm going to take it out the Ziploc bag just to show you. Okay. It's been a great run, and thank you guys for supporting us. Thank you guys for watching. Today, we have the one and only, the mouth of the North, Mr. Andrew Reece from the Reece Report. You guys, make sure, go check out that podcast. Basketball, baseball, football, wrestling, hockey. You guys know what to do. Go down there, check that out. How are you doing today, Reece?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be back after a long absence.
Yeah.
Yep. You've been gone for a while, and you were our first guest ever. And we also, joining you, we also have, you guys just met, the one and only Mr. Kenyon, Nisbett. Yeah, you're building a following online, bro. A lot of people are loving you jumping on to the point. It's actually really good. And you do have a lot of great things to say. So it is very well warranted. And how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing great. Ready to get into this. Just had some oxtail. I'm ready to go.
Bro, you can't say something to the man, them? Oh, fam, I'd be blessed with that. Anyway, let's get right into this. Like you just said, Kenyon. Okay, so your Toronto Raptors right now are currently sitting in the fifth place in the Eastern Conference. They're about to face off with the Philadelphia 76ers, who are in the fourth place. And by the way, I have a bet riding on this. One of my homegirls from back in the day where we used to play ball together, who is from Philly. Shout out Cherise. But
wait, you bet on the Raptors? I thought you were a Raptors fan.
Give me the crazy glue, and I'll be a fan again. Okay, but Toronto is now locked in there, and yes, I'm going to gloat and I'm going to gloat and say yes, I did call them coming into the fifth place, sixth, fifth, even possibly fourth. But now that they are there, now let's forget about the past. Let's look forward. So, Andrew Reece, I would like to ask you, based on what the Toronto Raptors have done over the course of the season and where they're going, what do they need to knock off the Philadelphia 76ers and make Joel Embiid cry again? Can we all see that, please? Yes.
Okay.
What do they need, my friend?
Marcus Gasol.
So, perhaps. The Raptors need they need a healthy Freddy and a healthy OG to win this series. They only played one game of the four against Philadelphia, a win in Philadelphia, and that's what I believe the key will be. The Raptors are going to need their full complement of players to steal one in Philadelphia to win this series. Freddy clearly was injured and clearly struggled after the second half. He was terrible shooting the basketball, and the Raptors won in spite of him. And OG only played one game, 6 total after the break, and is reportedly still sore from his injury. If they do not have Freddy and OG, it's a problem. If they do have them, I have the Raptors in 6 because they have no answer for Spicy P. He averaged 30.3, 8.7 rebounds, and 8.3 assists against Philadelphia this year. They had no answer for him. They can't stop him. And even if Embiid goes crazy, I believe the Raptors' complement of players is better than the Philadelphia's complement of players, especially with Thibault out in Toronto because he's not vaccinated. And Boucher coming off the bench was also huge against Philadelphia, averaging 16.5 and 10.5. This is the biggest series of Pascal Siakam's career, in my opinion. Yep. And he has to come up big There's no more excuses. Kyle Lowry is gone. He's taken over this team. To his credit, he's had one of the best seasons of his career, and he needs to come through in this series for the Raptors to win, along with a healthy Freddy and OG. And I believe they'll win in 6 if that happens.
Woo! I agree with you. Now, Kenyon, I agree with you on the 6, but 6, starting from the bottom. Anyway, Kenyon, I have to ask you. Philly is definitely a formidable team. They do have a potential MVP on their roster. They do have somebody who can put up a lot of points, mainly through free throws, but don't get me started on his ass, right? But
a former MVP.
Nah. To me, nah. Now, what does Philly have that can stop the Toronto Raptors from making it out of this first round?
Right. So they don't have coaching, so that's the first thing.
Oh no, Doc Rivers, the choker? No, they don't have him.
Yeah, exactly. But you know,
I didn't want to go there, but yeah.
The keys here for Philly are the rebounding. They don't do well on the offensive rebound. They have to limit that, so they have to do really, really well on the defensive rebounding side of things. I think the other thing is pace of play. Harden, Embiid, they're still learning how to play together. That's a big piece to bring in, and there's a lot of moving pieces that went out that I think that are important. So I think pace of play matters, and within that, I think that if they could slow it down, I think that they have a chance of actually doing well. Either way, it's going to be a good series.
If Philly can slow it down, you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah.
So if Philly can slow it down and play that slow, methodical pace and kind of catch fire with Embiid and Harden, which is possible, I think that they're a formidable opponent.
Okay. Thank you for your input. By the way, I'm digging the drip that you got right now.
Thank you.
Right? That's absolutely amazing. Now,
nice.
Skip. You actually dug into this for a while. We've been talking the last couple nights till, 3, 4 in the morning some nights. But you have actually dug into this. Now, I have to ask you what your keys are for your Toronto Raptors to win, to take this series. By the way, I said it, 4-2. Go on, Skip.
Sorry, one sec here.
Wait, are you texting? Who are you texting?
I got a message.
No messages.
I got a message right as we were doing this.
Another Drake.
I ain't getting no messages, bro. Not me.
No, I think actually the keys are very similar to what you guys just said. I was going to hit on the health was number one, Siakam, but also I think Kenyon makes a really good point about the pace and the rebounding. I think the main key for the Raptors is going to be assuming health. I mean, that's a huge key. But assuming health, the main key for the Raptors is going to be to make Philly play their game because they do have a huge advantage in. We talked last episode about the possession battle and how the Raptors really dominate the possession battle throughout the season. And you look at Philly's numbers, and they're kind of at the very other end of the spectrum, right? This is a team that's last in field goal attempts. Raptors are fourth. They're 29th in offensive rebound, they're 30th in offensive rebounds, 29th in rebounds overall. So they don't hit the glass. The Raptors hit the glass. You talked about transition, like the Raptors. Philly cannot stop the Raptors in transition. They don't have the defenders to do so. So the Raptors need to be forcing turnovers and getting in transition. I think if the Raptors can do those things, that if they could basically drag Philly down to their level, I think they'll be in a really good position to win. Because I think of this series almost like, you think of that traditional offsetting thing, right? Where it's like one team has the skill and one team has, the hustle or the heart. I think that's very much true in this series. This is the ultimate example of that. One team is all hustle, all speed, all just physicality, just getting in there, getting dirty. Philly has, in theory, the two most skilled players on the court at all times. Say what you will about Siakam. I think Siakam's a better player than Harden right now, but in terms of just pure like playmaking skill, getting the job done, in theory, that Harden and Embiid combo is terrifying. So that's why the Raptors have to get those guys off their game and get into this other type of game, this much faster pace, this much crazier, this much rougher game. My second key would be just for the Raptors to outplay their experience level, if that makes sense. Because you look at this whole thing about young players choke in the playoffs. There's this whole thing about young teams need to
but Harden
so
chokes.
they can win. Yeah, well, that's a whole other topic, though. I mean, DeRozan choked. Lowry was a choker until he wasn't, right? Like this is the narrative. And the thing is, the Raptors are quite young. Really, outside of VanVleet and Siakam, I mean, Thaddeus Young is another story, but outside of VanVleet and Siakam, they don't have a ton of playoff experience.
OG, Boucher, what are you talking about?
OG was hurt. I mean, OG's played in the playoffs, but he was hurt during championship run.
Yeah, you didn't play that final series. Yeah. Go on.
Regardless, go on. I think just guys like, especially Precious and Scotty Barnes are going to be the guys who might be deer in the headlights with the postseason pressure. And I think Philly might be more able to withstand that. And you kind of throw back to that Brooklyn series, right? 2013-14 was it? The Brooklyn series. The Raptors had all these young guns coming up, and Brooklyn had all these old guys, all these old heads.
When Paul Pierce put up that shot at the end.
And they hung on because they had just a little bit more grit, a little more experience, whatever you want to call it. So I think those are a couple of keys. Obviously, coaching is also a huge key, but we can get into that later.
Okay. May I weigh in here, guys?
Yeah.
Based on everything you guys have said. Okay. Skip, you were talking about hustle over heart. I mean, hustle over skill.
Yeah.
It's ironic that you said that because I know you have not watched the movies, but the Rocky movies.
I watched the first one.
Yeah, Rocky's from Philly.
Yeah.
It's actually funny that you actually said that because
so is Kyle Lowry, speaking of hustle over heart, but anyway.
But when Kenyon, you did mention rebounds, right? Yeah. The Raptors, if you look over the course of the season in the 4 games that the Raptors have played against Philadelphia, where they've won 3 and lost 1, they are, I'm not a calculator, but they are ahead when it comes to rebounds, right? So that
especially offensively.
Offensive rebounds has been the difference.
Offense has been absolutely amazing. So what I would like to say is the Toronto Raptors versus the Philadelphia 76ers. There's multiple factors that are going to go into this playoff series, right? I'm going to say it. My pick would be, I agree with you, Andrew Reece, that the Raps will take it 4-2, right? Because they got the first. You
guys are optimistic, I got to say. I mean, it's a tough series. Don't get me wrong,
Skip, shut up. I said the Raps will take 5th, and you said they'll take 8th if they meet the playoffs, okay? So I'm not even listening to you right now. But I do believe, based on the Raptors taking it to 4-2, there are a lot of intangibles and a lot of factors that can make or break this series, such as we've spoken about, Skip, you mentioned Scotty Barnes. I've seen posts out there where Scotty should be taking the 3. It depends on his 3-point shot. There is Pascal staying consistent. There is Freddy being healthy, like all 3 of you gentlemen have touched on. There has been other things about OG, Boucher, how are the Raptors going to tighten up the bench, right? Who are they going to use, as opposed to right at the end of the regular season where they just shot everybody out there? They could have put you out there, Skip.
In that Knicks game, yeah.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah, exactly, because they would have lost. But
that game was close, and then they threw Utah and Svi out there, and it was like, yeah, they don't care.
1-4, get Svi. But the Raptors do have a lot of ability to stop the Philadelphia 76ers. And now, one thing that I have to say about them stopping the Philadelphia 76ers is none of us touched on this right now, but Joel Embiid and James Harden lead the league in most free throw attempts. They're sucking it up. They just want to right? Just hit you with the ball and try to get to the line. Now, if the Raptors were to contain that and just put their hands up and not commit the foul, well, guess what? These guys turn into 18 points, 16 points instead of the 30 some odd points. And that can definitely change the game, because if you look at the point differential, that's about 16 points a game, at least 16 to 20, that the Raptors are going to make up, like you said, Kenyon, with their transition and their offense that will go off. Now, Skip, I want to ask you first. Because we know in this NBA, in the playoffs, it comes down to the half court. Now, Skip, the Raptors have run wild and they've done an amazing job. Transition defense to offense. Do you think with this now positionless and versatile team that they can utilize that in the playoffs?
Well, that's going to be the big key, right? I do want to jump back to your other point, but that's going to be the big key is the Raptors, as much as they thrive on transition, normally transition is the first thing that dries up in the playoffs. And for all that we said that the Sixers struggle on the offensive glass, they don't really struggle in the turnover margins as much, because at the end of the day, like when they need to get the ball in somebody's hands, they can put it in James Harden's hands. And James, like, for all his faults, and he's got many faults this year, he is not a guy who's necessarily going to turn the ball over a ton. So a lot of those transition opportunities are really off of those turnovers.
They average 2.8 more turnovers than the Raptors per game. Go on.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
The numbers I was looking at have them pretty good at turnovers. I think they were
since February 10th. The Raptors' turnover percentage is.
The Raptors have a very, very good turnover margin. I thought Phillies was pretty good too.
And Harden's a turnover machine.
Go on, Skip.
All right. Well, maybe I was looking at the wrong numbers, because what I saw had Philly quite low in turnovers. Anyway, but that is going to be a key if they can control the turnover game, and if they can run like that in the playoffs the way they can in the regular season. Because, like I said, in the playoffs, everything's much tighter controlled. People are not making sloppy decisions. They're not generally like scrambling. They're trying to keep things under control and keep things in the half court. And that's totally what Philly's going to be trying to do all of this series, is to not let Toronto get any of those opportunities. So I think that's going to be a huge key. I don't know if it's going to turn out. The thing is, Philly, as much as we say, like, they should be a playoff in the playoffs, they should sort of change their style. They should be a little bit, even competing for those loose balls a little harder. But Philly kind of just doesn't have the personnel for that. You look around their roster, they're kind of slow, they're kind of big, they're kind of lumbering. I mean, Harden's not very fast at this point in his career. Embiid's like a big lumbering center. You got a guy like Georges Niang out there who's basically out there to shoot threes and be a pylon on defense.
Can I just say, if I had a daughter and he was living next door to me, I would move. He looks like that kind of guy. Anyway,
Georges Niang?
Yeah.
But regardless,
go on, Skip.
I think
Skip.
I think it's going to be tough for Philly to impose their will on the Raptors to the extent that we might expect them to, it being now a playoff matchup. But at the same time, if they are able to keep the game in the half court and slow things down and really just run pick and rolls with Embiid and Harden, the Raptors could be in a lot of trouble. Anyway.
What's your prediction
for the whole series? I think there's a million ways that the Raptors can cause.
Okay, well, we don't want to hear a million reasons.
There's a million ways the Raptors can cause Philly problems. I think there's lots of reasons to be optimistic in this series, but I think the Philly needs this series so much more than the Raptors. Doc Rivers needs this series to not get fired. Embiid needs a series to make up for 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Harden needs a
we'll get
series
into that.
to make up for the trade. So
We'll get into that, but give me a number.
I have
Give me a number.
Philly and 7.
Okay, now, Kenyon, I gotta ask you because Reece, I got a great question for you after. Kenyon, what are your odds and what is your prediction and how do you think the Toronto Raptors can defeat Philly if they can? I got a meal riding on this, so I need to know. There's bets in place.
So, so I haven't thought through, like, I can't say like 70-30 or not going to go into that. I will give you a prediction, but first, I just want to say a couple things. Number one,
Go ahead.
You're worried about Barnes. I'm not worried about Barnes. He's been on Team USA. Okay. He's
Twice.
played at the highest level. Yes, he has. Absolutely. And he's played with the best of the best. And they know.
I'm more worried about Achua. I just think Barnes might be able to be schemed out a little bit. But yeah,
Fair enough. But I'm just saying that, in terms of Barnes, I'm not worried. So that's the first thing. The other thing is we have championship experience. Okay, we just do. Harden, I don't know what he's talking about, but he just said he has nothing to prove. So
that's bravado. That's bravado. The player,
I get that, right?
That's all bravado. Trust me.
Of course.
Yes.
But at the same time, let's be honest.
I got something for Reece when it comes to that, but go on.
So, also, we talk about injuries. Harden, hamstring. We keep hearing this. Okay, so I don't know. I have not seen his medical records. I don't know what his hamstring is about, or if it's healthy or whatever. It doesn't look healthy. He came in. It's not my words. I'm gonna take Bill Simmons' words, where he said he looked like he came in wearing a fat suit. Okay, so to me, I think, like you said, there's a lot more writing on Philly. I would take Raptors in 6. I think if the Raptors go down the first 2 games, I'm still not worried. I think that the Raptors can out-athlete them, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, hustle. That's what I'm saying, yeah.
The one thing that I noticed watching tape is how do they guard Pascal Siakam? There's one of 2 ways that they do it. They do it with a primary defender being Harris, which if you look 2 years ago was a lot more effective, but still not effective. If you look now, it ain't looking so good. The other person who can is Joel Embiid, but then you're taking away your rim protection. And the other thing is you're wearing that man down
and putting him into
if Pascal can hit his jumpers, then Embiid can't stay with him. So yeah,
exactly.
That's
so
be
and
key.
Also, I don't know, and I don't know if any of you know. So please tell me. I feel like fouls don't get called as much in the postseason.
Correct.
So unless you're going to give them 40 free throw shots a game, I don't think that they can reasonably rely on that. And Harden has struggled this year because of that, because of the rule changes. So that's what I have to say. I gave my prediction. I'm good.
I think the key is going to be is how do the Raptors deal with Embiid? Because if the Raptors deal with Embiid in a way they double him and he finds open shooters, they could be in a lot of trouble.
That's not what's going to happen, though. I don't think
that's what I want to ask Andrew Reece.
Yeah, jump in, Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay, most of the North. Matisse Thybulle, he cannot cross the border. He's on that Kyrie tip.
Yeah.
Right? So if this series were to go to 7 games, he's missing 3.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, over the course of the season, the Raptors have been able to contain Joel Embiid, right? And with Harden, like I saw your post the other day with Harden choking all the time.
Yeah.
Right? What is your likelihood for the Raptors to take this series? And if so, if they do, if you think they are going to take it, how many games, my friend?
So here's the thing. Harden is going to get his. The Raptors don't have anyone to guard him. He's too tall, too big. The Raptors don't have a center to guard him. He's
You
going
mean
to get
Embiid?
Trent, what are you
You mean
talking
Yeah,
Embiid,
about?
I was like, wait a minute.
Scotty
Sorry,
Barnes?
sorry.
Or-
Embiid cannot be guarded by anyone on the Raptors. He's going to get his.
Siakam, OG,
No.
Boucher. Come
Achua-
on,
I think
bro.
Achua is going to get the main assignment.
He can
Yeah,
get what he
Precious.
wants.
Thad, Kem.
Embiid is going to average 30 in this series. That's not even
I
a
agree.
question.
I
okay?
agree. Yeah.
The question for me is, can the Raptors stop everybody else? And if you look at the way they've played against Philadelphia, they have. James Harden's only averaging 15 points a game and shooting 33% from the field and 12.5 from three. Tobias Harris is only averaging 12.8 points, shooting 32% from the field and 18% from three. So what the Raptors have done, and Nick Nurse does this quite often, he lets the big guy get what he wants. Sometimes we'll double him, sometimes we'll throw guys at him, but we'll not allow the 3-pointers from the outside. To me, the key for Philadelphia, if they're going to have a chance, it's not Harden and Embiid. It is Mr. Maxey, who torched us all year long, averaging 20 points a game, 50% from the three, and 52% from the field. If he has a big advantage over Fred VanVleet, which could happen because Freddie's not healthy, that's a problem.
Yeah, but can he do that? Can he do that for 6 games, 7 games?
Now,
Can he?
Typolt is their big defensive stopper. Toronto's going to have a significant advantage at home. So the question is, can they steal one in Philly? The Raptors have done that once with their entire lineup. Now, the issue for me is this. OG Anunoby. He is such an important player to this team, and I've said this before. They're under 500 without him, and they're significantly over 500 with him. The reason why that is because the Raptors struggle in the half court without him. When he's there and he's in the corner, you have to look out for him because he shoots 46% from three. So if he's in that corner, it allows Fred VanVleet to drive the lane and to find open guys because you have to respect him from the three. When he's not there, the middle can be crowded up. You can have Scott Barnes open, which is not as big a threat, and therefore the Raptors struggle in the half court. So OG's participation in this,
Barnes is not a big threat.
he's not a good three-point
as
shooter.
a shooter.
He's
By
not-
comparison to
by-
the OG, no.
Right. I'd rather have OG
Not
in
right
the
now.
corner and have guys running at him, whereas I've seen Scotty Barnes in the corner. Nobody runs at Scotty. They're going to let him shoot that three, and he's about a 34 or 33% shooter at this point. I would rather have OG in the corner and have Scotty Barnes closer to the inside. So now that's the key for me. OG being out there for the half court is a major key to this series because we know the Raptors can run on them and grab offensive rebounds. But if you look at the series, the Raptors shot under 44% against Philadelphia. They won because they grabbed offensive rebounds. So I think OG is very important for this series.
I think OG is even more important defensively because I think he organizes the whole Raptors defense, but
Correct.
he's also one of the few guys on the team who can sort of guard centers.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you got OG to throw at Embiid in spots, not all game.
You can guard every position.
Yeah.
I think OG is very important. Yes.
Okay, so
but Raptors win in 6. I said it before. James Harden. There's so much. All the pressure's on Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers, James Harden, and Joel Embiid. All the pressure is on the 76ers. There's zero pressure on the Raptors.
Doc Rivers' job is on the line right now.
Rivers' job's on the line. Harden struggles unless he gets free throws, which he doesn't get in the playoffs. He struggled in the playoffs his whole career. So to me, the Raptors can take advantage of that. They win in 6. That's my prediction.
Okay, so you said Raps in 6. Kenyon, you said Raps in 6
I
as
said
well?
Raps in 6 as well.
So
and
did
I
I.
also forgot to say the loss of Seth Curry is gonna hurt them, and it's gonna
Woo!
it's gonna
you start digging into their bench, and there's not much behind that, right?
Yeah.
Like with Danny Green starting, like they got Niang and
so
who coming off the bench. Like
in my notes, I was like, can you rely on Danny Green in the playoffs? And we've seen what that's like.
Yeah, he has
we
his
witnessed it firsthand.
He has his moments,
Skip.
but
So Skip, who do you got to take out this series?
I said Raps. I said Sixers in 7.
Oh, sorry, was that a Freudian slip that you?
I gotta say,
Wow.
I started watching some Sixers podcasts, and I was like, Oh boy, like I'm gonna change my pick now. Like they're terrified.
Really?
Of this
They
series.
brainwashed you?
No, they're terrified of this series. No, I'm saying
they made Philly,
almost made me
Philly
switch
great again.
They almost made me switch my pick back to Toronto because
They
no
don't sound
Sixers
confident.
fans are confident about this series. None.
Oh my god. Well, I got the
And
Raps in sync.
You know
I got
who
the
we
Raps
haven't
in
talked?
sync.
You know who we haven't talked about yet, though? Really? Like James Harden. Like that guy.
We haven't.
Just kidding.
I-
just kidding.
I gotta be honest. Like he looks like a beer leaguer out there. to me.
Hard Done is his new name.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the hamstring or if he's just washed. I mean, you look around.
He
like
just likes the
He doesn't
champagne
care.
campaign right now, right?
Yeah.
He
I said-
doesn't care, which is bringing me to my next point. Now, since we don't have that much time left, Mr. Andrew Reece, I don't like the show Family Guy, but I do watch it. And speaking of players saying, "Well, I don't get a good shot," or I didn't have this. What grinds your gears?
Okay, what Russell Westbrook, and we've talked about this guy before on this show. He's the most delusional player in NBA history.
I hate wasting my time talking
Now,
about him, so make this quick, please.
The only person that might be more delusional is Scottie Pippen, and you guys know why. Now,
Yeah.
This man had the nerve to come out in his press conference after the season when the Lakers missed the playoffs with 4 Hall of Famers. LeBron, we'll talk about you later. I was never given a fair chance. This man started 78 games and was 7th in the league in minutes, but he didn't get a fair chance. He was last in the league in turnovers. He was last in the league in paint field goals, bunnies. He was second last in shooting efficiency, and he shot 30% from 3 and 66% from the free throw line, but he didn't get a fair chance.
And he was one of the best on that team when it
This
came
is
to
his
the
4th
stats.
team in 4 years, and he's made it out of the first round once. Russell Westbrook, it's you! You're the problem, okay? And until you take accountability, you're going to suck. You're going to become the Allen Iverson of the NBA. You're going to be out playing in Turkey somewhere, okay? Now, understand...
Like Rocky chasing a chicken?
Now, understand it's not all your fault because LeBron was the reason you're on the team because he's a horrible GM. You know, he's following in Michael Jordan's footsteps there, okay? And by the way, LeBron, you're bothering me too. You want to know why? Because... you said your season's not a failure. You missed the playoffs in a league where 20 teams out of 30 make it. You failed. It was a failure of a season. That's what's bothering me, Brian. I'm glad I got it off my chest. Thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I know you need to vent, and I guess this was therapeutic for you. Kenyon, is there anything overall that happened this past season because you weren't on yesterday for not yesterday, a couple days ago for our Raptors postseason recap? Is there anything out there that might be grinding your gears over this past season?
One thing that's grinding my gears is I think a lot of people need to do an apology tour for Pascal Siakam. I have been talking about
including me.
yes, you,
Yeah.
Including you,
I have
Reece.
been in his
Including
corner.
you, Reece. Can your wife not kill me again?
I'll be the first person. When I have more time, I'll be the first. When we do grades, I'll be the first person to do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
He there's a lot of people that were down on him the entire season, wanting us to trade him. And I kept saying, yeah, and I still believe him, Scotty, OG, I don't care what you put around them, they'll figure it out. They're that talented, they're that good, and they're gonna get better. So that's all I gotta say.
Skip. I know you don't. I know you only ride a bike. So what grinds the gears on your bike, or what WD-40 do we got to put on that, bro?
What grinds my gears is we're talking about the Lakers on a Sixers preview podcast. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I know.
I had to get it off my chest.
All I gotta say is LeBron, Brian Windhorst, like he said, 4-year cycle to ruin a team. It's disgusting. It's tarnishing. I feel bad for my man Kobe, because I'm pretty sure he's turning in his grave right now. But forget about them. They're not in the playoffs. It's over. It's a wrap. Go to Cancun. Jump on a banana boat. Do something. Get out of my face. I don't want to see any more posts. Okay? But right now, what we are looking forward to is your Toronto Raptors facing Philadelphia on Saturday. Which
Yep.
oh man, y'all got it all out. We're all showcasing it. In case you guys didn't know, this is a Raptors podcast. But I honestly cannot wait. My family is excited. My friends are excited. You guys are excited. Our group chat's blowing up. Like I'm not even getting sleep. It's like we're all mad into this. And for the city of Toronto and the energy, I honestly do hope the Raptors can win and take out the Philadelphia 76ers, because I would love to see, they always say you don't want to see a grown man cry, but Joel Embiid?
Yeah.
And baby.
Choice in a row.
And baby.
I think the reason I called it Sixers in 7, I think they're going to get revenge in that game 7 for the Kawhi
Are you
shot.
pulling a Shaq?
Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Yeah, skip. Leave right now.
It's the Joel Embiid revenge tour right now, but anyway, we'll see.
Skip, leave right now. We don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
No, after saying that's blasphemy. Okay. So, guys, this has been a great conversation. This has been very in-depth. I'm glad you guys got to vent out, especially you, Reece, with your Westbrook venting. Man, you need a therapist. I could be that guy. So, on behalf of myself, the one and only Kenyon Nisbett, the Mouth of the North, Andrew Reece. You find him on Twitter at Mouth of the North. You guys find him at the Reece Report on Facebook, on YouTube as well. Skip, you guys know where to find him. It's baseball season. Him and Reece don't shut up. Sometimes my chats are just blowing up and it's two of them talking about baseball. I have no idea. You guys know what to do. Go down there. See Skip at Dougie J's on Twitter. SimonBroder.com at Running the Point. You guys click subscribe, click like, so we can give this away. So on behalf of myself, Kenyon, Andrew Reece, and Simon Broder, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and
Peace.